What's up, y'all? It's Jay Thunder,
and AJ Radix.
and we are the PWX AWA Tag Team Champions, Extreme Thunder. And you're listening to the Smack Raw Podcast, baby.
Hey folks, welcome to the Smack Raw Podcast, a very special edition of the Smack Raw Podcast. Myself, I am your host, Kyle, and I'm here interviewing Chicago Zone indie wrestler. You can find him at Global Professional Wrestling. He wrestles at Chicago Style. He's currently one half of the PWX Tag Team Champions, Extreme Thunder. You may recognize him from our NXT recaps with Vince and RN. I am, of course, talking about Mr. Jay Thunder. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, man? I am happy to be here. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing great, man. You know what I just realized? You're going to need to move that camera just a little bit more inside your room. You took yourself off frame.
Did I really take myself off frame?
You took that belt off frame. Move it maybe just like
well, the belt's like right here. It's like up here somewhere.
Believe me, how the show is framed, my friend. It's all in the magic of the the television
so
world.
I'll bring it down just a tad bit.
We'll just move it to the side. There you go. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Just a smidge more.
More?
Smidge more. Smidge more. A little bit more. There we go. And then now do we just raise it up a little?
Just raise it up.
Raise it up. That's the money shot right there. Welcome to the show, Jay.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, man.
Yeah.
I would have figured it'd be kind of weird because I'm not even the way my camera's faced. It's kind of like going that way. It looks like it's going that way, so I feel like I'm not even in the shot.
No, don't worry. It's on my end. The cropping, it's all good, my friend.
All right.
Yeah, we're getting that money maker for sure.
Cool.
Little bit of backstory. Jay joined our show a couple months back. I've been wanting to do a personal interview with you for a long time because, of course, our show is a pro wrestling podcast. Cheap plug. You can find us on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Podbean, iTunes, Google Play Music. Of course, we're on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But ever since you came on the show, you're an actual wrestler, you know, and I've always wanted to dabble inside of the pro wrestling scene, and I figured no better time to do so than tonight. So I thank you for being on the show, my friend.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I definitely appreciate it. I know we were scheduled to do the throwback episode today, but we couldn't do it because of, the whole situation. Shout out to Seb. But you know what? I'm happy that you had this idea, and I'm definitely down with it, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I guess you know what? I wasn't really prepared. You know, how about this? Let's throw out our plugs, and then we'll just get right into the questions.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So obviously, we like talk wrestling with each other and with you fans, but we want you guys to talk wrestling back with us. So you can hit us up on Twitter at SmackDrawPod, myself at The Kai Tai Show, and of course, Mr. Jay Thunder here at Jay Thunder 2009, right?
Absolutely. You guys can reach me at Jay Thunder 2009. The J and the T is capitalized at Twitter. You can reach me on Instagram, Jay Thunder 2009. All things are lowercase. And if you guys want to, after this wonderful live stream, I'm probably gonna try myself to go into my Twitch and stream. You can catch me at the Jay Thunder, so I'll be there.
Sweet, plugging his own Twitch channel. All right, man. So Jay, man, let's go ahead and get into this, buddy. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. So you wrestle in the Chicago area. Primarily, are you originally from Chicago?
Yes, I am originally from Chicago, born and raised. I've been with me being 28 years, about to be 29 in June. So yeah, it's literally been a good years here in Chicago. It's been wonderful.
Awesome, man. And I've always heard that Chicago is obviously a hotbed for the indie wrestling scene. So what a wonderful advantage you have. Speaking of which, What made you become like what got you into becoming a wrestler? A lot of us fantasize about it, but none of us have actually really seeked it out and obviously are going for it like you are.
Well, I remember, and I know we had this talk with the 100th episode. If guys didn't check that out, guys check that
Dude,
100th episode.
no one watched that
Uh,
show.
well, either way, if you guys want to check out that 100th episode, like you guys check that out. But I mentioned that I was a little kid, flipping through the channels, trying to find something on TV, after school and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, I see Monday Night Raw, and I was just hooked instantly. I was able to watch the first episode of SmackDown. So, and I've literally been, I've always been following it. After a while, with how things have changed after the ruthless aggression era, it starts to kind of get watered down. So it's kind of like you stop kind of watching it. And, after a while, I wound up, trying to get my own life together. I wound up having a daughter. I wound up having a life with a wonderful woman. Unfortunately, those things did not work out. And it came to a point where I was kind of like in a depressive state, and I
Hmm.
decided, what better way to get all of that, depression out than to do something that I love, which was this. And
Man,
I said, you know what, let's do it. Like, if you're willing to do it, then let's do it. It's literally that simple. Like, I literally just went in there and I did it, and I've been doing this for 3 years. So, and I'm trying to do it for a lot long more. So,
so wow, turning hardship into motivation to pursue your dreams. That's a wonderful way
absolutely.
to take control of yourself and your story, man. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So you're currently one half of the PWX tag team champions with oh my god,
My
I
boy AJ Raditz.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I was trying to get the
No,
correct spelling. I had two spellings
no, it's
there.
okay. So,
How did
if
you
you want to get the name spelling right, just think of, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, how Raditz's name is spelled. So
got you?
you'll get it. You'll get that.
I'll never be
So
able to forget that now. That's a great way to put them together. How did you
yeah.
guys become? Did you guys go into this prior? Like, did you guys know each other prior to becoming wrestlers? How did
Well,
you wind up?
we've trained together. Um, and we were at PWX, which is known as Powerhouse Wrestling Extreme, which is now also merged with AWA. Um, so we literally, it was just a thing where they needed more tag teams. So we
Hmm.
were like, okay, we need more tag teams, and they decided to put us together to see how it would work. It was a big man, little man concept, and I was okay with it. It was a little weird because AJ is, the high flyer, and I'm, the big man powerhouse who can move. So it was kind of weird, but once we kind of like figured out that chemistry, it kind of worked out.
Okay.
And everyone, and then what the thing about it is that everyone decided to get behind us. So it was like they had to keep it going.
That's awesome, man. And now you guys are tag team champions. Your first championship, if I'm
Yes,
correct, right?
this is my first championship. I am 100% grateful at this situation that has happened, because this right here, it literally just tells me like, yo, you've been through a lot of stuff. It's been a long time coming. You know what? Just soak it all in and enjoy it while you still have it.
Okay. Now you mentioned that obviously part of being a wrestler is you have to go to classes and you have to train regularly.
Yes.
What type of regimen or what type of training do you go through in the training? What is it? What kind of like what's it like?
Well, for the most part, it requires a lot of cardio. You have to like be big on cardio. When I first started, I had a hard time with cardio, running the ropes. With me being a big guy, I like so. when I first started, I was 340 pounds. Right as of right now, I'm 320.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying my hardest to get down to at least 280, between 250 and 280. That'll probably be the goal. Um, but it requires, like I said, it requires a lot of cardio because you got to run those ropes. You have to be. It's one thing to be like, fit, but there's another thing to be ring fit.
I've heard that term thrown
So
around
yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah, like there's a difference between being fit and ring fit. So,
Gotcha.
like I said, it requires a lot of cardio. You got to learn how to run the ropes. You got to learn how to roll. You got to know the basics. Basics are always important when it comes down to learning how to do pro wrestling and training. It
Okay.
is always basic.
All right. Nice. So a lot of cardio. Um,
Yes,
so far, you've obviously achieved one of your first goals, which is becoming champion
yes.
for a wrestling promotion. Do you
hmm
have any other goals or things that you're looking forward to accomplishing in the near future?
I think for the most part, what I'm really looking to do is, my first thing is to make sure that I have my craft down packed. That's one thing that I want to do for the most part before I go anywhere. Having a craft and having a sense of um the theory of wrestling
Mm-hmm.
um is so much better than to just go out there and pull off a couple of moves. Like, you got to tell a story out there, man. And that's what we were trained to do. We're trained to entertain and tell a story. I mean, granted, yeah,
Awesome.
we're out there fighting, but of course, we're out there to tell a story as well.
What?
Um, that's that's one thing. If I could, I would love to be out on the indie scene and get some recognition. Let everybody know that I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could, like, I don't have to be in the E. I don't really have to. I wouldn't mind being um anywhere, just somewhere that would give me the recognition to do something that I love. Like, I love doing this. This is something that I've been wanting to do since I was like a kid. And the fact that this close, I am this close from, doing something, really just like it kind of like just brings me up. And it's like, look, dude, I don't have to be in the E. I don't have to be in AEW, New Japan. It doesn't make a difference. I just want to have fun doing this and let everybody know that, hey, you can do anything if you keep going.
Hell yeah, man! I really respect the about what you said earlier in that statement too. Is you want to have your craft down. You want that solid foundation before you just take off. You don't want to go ahead, take your little bit of gold that you have, or your lot of gold. Don't let me downplay it, but don't take that gold that you've earned and use it as an excuse just to keep like skyrocket. You want to make sure that you're grounded and you're ready for anything. And I really respect an answer like that for sure.
Yeah, like, I like it comes to a point where, what, in this business, you want to be different than everybody else. You want to be different from everybody else, and you want to show that, okay, yeah, I'm not like this other big guy, or I'm not like this other big guy. I'm different. You got to do that in this business because it's a competition.
Oh,
So,
nice. I got a good one for you. I was thinking good about this. So, being fresh to the wrestling scene, is that something that you wear on the daily? Do you go out and, rock the whole J Thunder PWX tag champion, or when you're out in public, are you just a normal guy? Are you Jay and this is kind of like your hidden persona?
okay, so I'll give you an example. So we had a show. Um, I think I talked to you guys about it the night of. We had the show with Luchasaurus,
Yeah.
and we we were before that happened. I had my match where I was in the future battle royal. It's basically to get over all the rookies to
Okay.
get everybody in. Um, so I'm in character out there, and then I come back behind the curtain, and it's kind of like, oh well, everything's okay, and I'm like, from here, I'm up here when I'm out there,
Mm-hmm.
but when I get back behind the curtain, I'm kind of like, yo, I put my glasses back on, and I'm like a normal person.
You keep that
Like, so
ego
to
in
answer
check.
so to answer your question, like, yeah, it's only a persona thing. Like, I don't do that here. Like, maybe in my mirror. I don't do it at home. Maybe in the mirror, but I don't do it at home. Like, I'll go to the store, and I'll be the normal, nice looking person, as you guys know me as. Like, I'm the nice, joking, kind hearted person. But when I get in that ring, I'm trying to take somebody's head off.
Got
So
you. But you say you stay grounded at home, and if we see you on the street, you're
yeah,
regular Jay. Now,
yeah. Like, so I will say this. So when I got this title, when we won the titles, um, I was at a complete, like, it was weird because this was the day that we won the titles. Um, it was a little weird because I didn't know what was going to happen with me in wrestling at that point, and I was kind of skeptical about what was going to happen.
are you speaking on the shoulder injury you suffered earlier,
Well,
or
yes, yeah, the shoulder injury. Like, I was already a little skeptical about it because I had to do the spear that night. So this is my first match back after I got hurt doing the spear the month prior. So I'm a little bit skeptical, and I'm worried, and I'm like, am I going to be able to do it? And sure enough, I was able to do it, and it was good. Um the thing about it is that there was a lot of stuff going on that day. I had a lot going on in my head. Um Kobe had just passed.
yeah?
So that was the day that that happened. And we have to sit here, and I'm focused because, like, someone who I've been watching, and like, I grew up watching. Now that him and his daughter and a whole bunch of others have, like, perished in a helicopter crash, and it's crazy. So um it was crazy because that whole moment, that when we won the titles, was so surreal because I was like, there's some positivity going on right now at that point. And I get behind the curtain, and in my head I wanted to kind of, like, cry a little bit because I was like, yo, this is real. This is something that happened. And I still couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it at all. I'm in the back. I'm hugging everybody. Everybody's congratulating me. It's like, dude, you guys did great out there. Congratulations. You guys deserve it. I'm in my head. I'm like, what just happened? I'm literally just like, that's literally how my head was. What just happened?
That's
The
great,
night
man.
before, literally the night after, I'm literally just relaxing at home, and um I literally just looked at I literally just had a moment where I kind of just sat down, and I kind of just I kind of, like, shed a tear for a little bit because I was happy. It was a tear of joy because I was happy at where, like, there was something I was getting somewhere with this situation. Like, it made me feel so good that, what, people are behind me, and people believe that I can do something more in this business.
That's awesome, man. And it's great that you can reach those highs in the ring and then keep yourself so grounded when you walk away from it. And but another part of that is, with being a professional wrestler also comes great intrigue, because it is one of those things, like those professions that's been like a well kept secret. It now, granted, nowadays it is more in the public eye than it used to be. But
Hmm.
when you're out and about and you're having a conversation and somebody finds out that you are an independent wrestler and you are a part of this business, do you
Hmm.
find that people who aren't familiar with professional wrestling have misconceptions? And maybe what's one of the largest misconceptions like you've encountered while talking about being part of wrestling?
Um, I would honestly say more so about me getting, like, say for instance, getting hurt, or um or punches, or it's predetermined, all that stuff, like. But at the same time, it's not rocket science. I mean, like, kayfabe is, kind of dead.
Yeah,
So people kind of like know that it's predetermined. And I just let people know, it's like, this is not the easiest thing to do in the world. Wrestling is not easy at all. It comes to a point where excuse me. It comes to a point where, like, your dedication and all your focus is there. Like, your focus is there. You sometimes you lose time with family. You um you literally you get injured. Like I said, that I literally dislocated my shoulder, and I still had to go on with the match.
I
So,
remember that day too because you
like,
were so excited that you won your number one contender match, but then like you're celebrating in through the chat when you're texting myself and the rest of the crew, and then you
mhm.
start posting pictures of you in the ER.
Yeah. It was just a moment, because, like, all that adrenaline had, like, ran out. Because I remember after the match, I literally I was raising, because I don't know if you saw, because you saw the match. Like, I was literally trying to raise my hand, and you saw the ref just kind of like raising my hand, and I'm trying so hard not to, like,
You were
be in
making
so
the
much
you were making
pain.
the ref do reps there. Like he was the one having to raise that arm for you.
Exactly.
Uh,
And it come to find out, the day after, found out that my shoulder was dislocated. And um I had to, like, kind of like I didn't even take, like, I took, like, maybe 2 weeks off,
okay.
because, like, I wanted to, I didn't want to lose the rust. I didn't want to get ring rust. um So, for anyone out there that's sitting here talking about, oh, wrestling's fake or whatever, you try coming in the ring with me or anybody else that wrestles, like, you understand that, yeah, it may be a work, but everything in that ring happens. It's real. When you jump off of that top rope, it hurts. When you get super kicked, the people might just miss, and you might get hit real good.
You get one in the
Like,
mush.
you might, yeah, you will. There's plenty of times where I've gotten super kicked in the face, and
Um,
I had to sell it, and I had to sell it. I'd rather sell it than no. Like, literally, everyone tells me that with my clotheslines, I'm, like, super stiff, but everyone loves my clotheslines because of the fact that it looks like, oh, you just knocked him out. But um, the thing about it is that I kind of just put it in there, and I have to realize that, you know, you can't put it in there too much. I'm a big guy, so if I put it in there, you might flip. So,
you guys are still protecting each other because at the end of the
yeah,
day,
so
you are.
yeah,
At the end of the day, I've always liked the phrase like at the end of the day, you guys are coworkers. You have to you have to
yeah,
meet around the figurative water cooler at some point.
exactly. So,
Speaking of selling though, uh, what are some, if any, are there moves that you won't sell for in fear of being injured? Is there anything that are there any pitches that have come across your way? You're like, no way, man, can't do it, too dangerous.
I guess not so much. I haven't had that issue happen yet to me. I know I'm scared to take a pile driver. I know that much. I'm very scared to take a pile driver, but more or less, I know I will take one.
Okay.
I guess it's just within this business, you kind of learn to like just say, um, fuck it. Like it's just like you literally just go into the business saying fuck it. Like,
I imagine you got to be a little crazy to go ahead and to willingly be dropped on your head.
well, yeah, it's crazy. Like I sometimes I don't understand how, like if I get planted with a DDT,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm still trying to figure out like, oh hey, how did I get out of that?
Got you.
So yeah, but other than that, I haven't had that issue. Usually with me, the big guy, we can dish it and take it at the same time.
Okay, I like that, man. Speaking of the risk of injury, uh,
Hmm.
you being part of a tag team match, if something were to go wrong in the match and say a member of either team is injured, do you guys already have, say, an audible ready, or how would a situation like that be handled? Similar to what happened in the what was it, the ladder match between Becky and Charlotte taking on the Kabuki Warriors. You saw Kairi
Hmm.
Sane taken out of the match, and you heard of Becky Lynch and Charlotte stepping up and directing the rest of the match. Does that go all the way down in the indies, or do you guys have a failsafe?
We do. But most of the time we usually just kind of like try to finish off the match. We just take it home.
Okay.
Because for the most part, I haven't been a part of any like specialty or gimmick matches.
Mm-hmm.
So usually, um, when situation comes out like that, my trainer always tells us, like if you can't, if something happens or someone gets injured, like take it home or improvise. You got to improvise. Like that's what rest holds are for. Like that's what um improvising, um talking to the ref, playing to the crowd. Like those are things that you do to kind of like, give the person either some time or see if the ref will needs to. So and otherwise, you just you have to go along with it. It has to. In my situation, like if I were to ever get injured, I know for a fact that somehow I'm gonna have to finish that match. Like I can't. I honestly I'd be upset with myself if I didn't finish that match.
Derek Dante says in the chat here, AJ Raditz says he is the true power of Extreme Thunder. What are your thoughts on that?
uh, he said AJ Radis is the
AJ
true power.
Raditz claims that he's the true power of Extreme Thunder.
Oh, I
Yes.
mean, um, AJ Raditz is the quickness of Extreme Thunder. I don't know about the power because I've had to sit here and uh calm the little whippersnapper down because he thinks that he's like 6'1" and 300 pounds when he's only like a buck 40,
Oh man,
and
hearing it
and
first.
he's only like a buck 40 and he's like five four, 5'5", and like you see, I want you guys to take a very good look at this. So you see this title right here, title, all right. This my like you see, I'm a big guy. I can't fit this title, but my partner, my so-called power of Extreme Thunder, he can't even fit it around his waist. It falls down. It's like a huge ass belt buckle to him.
I
So
sure, I sure hope we don't see a flip between you
like as
guys.
a matter of fact, if Derek is listening, tell him I appreciate the fact that he said that because um I'm going to see him in practice on Tuesday and I'm going to kick his so
Awesome. All right, let me. I'm gonna have a hard time segueing back,
oh
but
no, it's cool. It's cool.
so we'll kick out some of the easier questions now. How many kickouts is too many?
Ooh. Ooh, ooh. So, did you watch Takeover?
I did.
So that's too many.
That's too many.
I'll give you like that. That's too many.
Takeover kickouts is too
That's
many.
that Takeover kickouts is too many. I was sitting there. I was watching it with a group of people, and I just I didn't know what to do at this point because I'm watching them kick out, and I'm like, dude, this should have been this match should have been done by now.
That's
like
that's awesome.
like
That actually. Oh, I'll go ahead and let you finish.
no, I was gonna say like this is overkill. This is overkill. like you just overkilled the match. Like I love the ending of the match of the Adam Cole versus Tommaso Ciampa match, but
Yeah.
it was overkill.
I don't.
That was so many.
I don't think I've ever seen too many kickouts as bad as when it was Adam Cole taking on Gargano. And it was like you literally had to run Gargano over with a truck in that match for him to stay down.
Oh my god, it was ridiculous, man. I just I don't know.
But actually, this does kind of help segue because you mentioned watching Takeover. Do you now find yourself analyzing matches and spotting stuff that say that you go over in training when you watch wrestling nowadays, or can you still watch it purely as a fan and not as analyzing watching somebody else do your job? Because I know personally speaking, working for a retail chain like I do, if I go to other retail chains, I can't separate myself from the customer to the employee anymore, and I'm all of a sudden analyzing the other guy doing his job. Do you find yourself doing something similar?
So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I'll use it in both terms. So as you know, before if you notice, well, if you know, my good buddy who's also a co-host of the podcast, Mr. SES Vince.
He's actually in the chat right now too. I got some
Oh, he's
questions.
in the chat.
I've got some questions for him lined up for after later in the show.
He both him and I used to work at the GameStop. So like now that I currently don't work there anymore, like I would literally go to GameStops and I wouldn't go in there as a customer. I go in there as a employee. So,
Yeah.
so I would always go in there as an employee. So to answer your question, I do that all the time.
Like
Like
you do find yourself doing that.
yeah. You can ask. As a matter of fact, you can ask Vince because he invited me to go to a event at Rise, for Rise Wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the first time that I had actually like really hung out with Vince after the whole GameStop situation.
Yeah.
And I also got to meet Benji, so that was also fun, and I call myself like seeing how they're doing things is like, yeah, he shouldn't be doing that. Oh, well, why did he do that? Oh, that was kind of weak, or like, oh yeah, like it was literally it was critique in the match and like, oh, I should not do that, or oh, I should probably pick this up, or oh, she did a pretty good job.
So you
Like,
feel like it's safe to say that being part of the business is actually affecting your ability to be a fan?
yes, absolutely, it is. Like because I'll do that everywhere. I'll do that like say for instance that's one of the reasons why doing a podcast on NXT because there's no way that Matt Riddle is supposed to pick up Bronson Reed. That's all I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna just put that out there. There's no way. It would not with ease. That's all I gotta say. Not with ease. So
I got you. We'll try to knock out a couple more simple questions because I feel like we've gotten some good meat and potatoes out of you here. So
I mean, like you can ask me whatever, man. Like I at this point,
I'm
like,
reading
just
from a
trying
list.
to-
Some of these questions I feel like are quick answers, and some other ones I really do enjoy the insight. How do you feel about social media impacting storylines? Do you think it's aiding them, or do you think it's actually hindering them?
As in like us like maybe a storyline starting on social media.
Well, the
Like-
fact that social media has really pulled back the curtain more than any other time Like we're currently going through a time period now where kayfabe is essentially almost completely dead, and so the moment the show is over that we're watching, we can still follow up with our favorite wrestlers on Twitter and other social medias, and we get to see them as real people. And do you think us being so we're so familiar with the real life person portraying the characters that we're seeing on TV, do you feel like it's impacting the actual stories and the product itself?
Yes and no. I feel like you know what, this is just coming from a wrestler's perspective. Like, we're just normal people, just like you, just like anybody that's listening, just like everybody in the world. We're just normal people. We just like we go on social media just as much as regular people go on social media. So it's like so we have to hide what we do on a regular basis. No, like we shouldn't have to, because we're regular people. Yeah, we're looked up as like superheroes in people's eyes and, you know, entertainment, but I go home and I sleep in a bed the same way you do. I put on my pants just like you do. So it's like, I mean, unless you put it on like without hands, like I don't know what to tell you. Like,
So like you believe that as our culture has developed nowadays, we're able to enjoy story roles strictly as stories and still enjoy the real life people portraying those characters. Unlike the '80s, where you saw heavily people embroiled in feuds, you couldn't be seen in public around each
oh
other.
yeah, of course. Like
Yeah,
it's like it's like with any situation. Like nowadays, you can sit here and there's a heel. I mean, this is entertainment. We and people know it as entertainment. That's the kicker. Like everyone knows it as entertainment. So what's the problem with it?
yeah.
Like it's TV just like everyone else.
You don't really
Like
hear of.
you don't get upset. You don't get upset because you're watching. And I'll just put a show out there. You don't get upset because of the fact that it's just a show, and Terrence Howard is on Empire, and he's being an asshole on Empire, but it's just a storyline. He may not be an asshole in real life.
Yeah, no, it's gone. Long gone are the days, and probably good. The days where you heard of the stories of like the Freebirds and the oh god, why can't I remember the name now? Way back in the '80s, the crowds would get riled up. Like wrestlers were scared of getting stabbed in the arena.
Mm-hmm.
That's how like heels really worked over the crowd back in the day to the
Yep.
point of physical violence.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why. Dang. You know, whenever I'm on the spot, I always forget stuff. I can't help
No,
it unless I have it
it's
written
good.
down. Uh, coming up here. So you mentioned you watched NXT earlier.
Of course.
With AEW and NXT both on Wednesday nights, but offering very different products,
Mm-hmm.
and not really taking direct shots at each other. Do you believe that we are still seeing a rebirth of the Monday Night Wars, or is this a matter of two teams in very different leagues doing their own thing?
Um. Well, for NXT I feel like AEW and NXT, they're like two different entities, because um I actually got to the chance to experience both, but I got to experience AEW live, and I experienced NXT like, you know, as everyone else does on TV. But I got to experience AEW live, and because of the fact that I'm a wrestler, I didn't get to enjoy it as a fan. So so it's kind of hard. That's kind of a hard question to like give me, because when I went to AEW Dynamite in November, last November,
Yes.
I was very skeptical about it. First of all, I was excited. Number one, I was excited because, just so you guys know, and I'm letting you guys know this, it had been my first ever live event. You would think that with me being 28, 29 years old, I would have gone to an event like around. No, not at all. I've never been to. This is my first. That was my first event ever, any other wrestling match that I've been to has either been within my promotion or I've been in it. So so to actually just be there as a fan was pretty dope. Um but the thing is, it was kind of like I'm so used to the story driven, of how WWE is with stories that I couldn't. It seemed like it was just wrestling. The only story that I could understand was Cody's and Chris Jericho's. That was the only two stories I could understand.
I
Other than that,
feel
it seemed like everybody was just wrestling.
Yeah, I feel like AEW's like freshman year had to pull back on story a little bit to let fans really become accustomed to who the roster members are, and then I think the juicier stories will be there to follow. But you believe that because AEW and NXT are very different entities, that we're not really witnessing a war. There's just two similar programs going on the same night. Because
Yeah,
I'm a
like I definitely feel like that. It's like kind of like um I'll do this in a I guess in a little nerdy way. So I don't know if you guys know, there are two games back then, back in the day, that everyone like literally were made by two different um publishers. It was Ratchet and Clank and it was Jack and Daxter. Both of those games use the same engine. Those two companies literally kind of just like went off of each other. You don't have, like, to be quite honest with you, I don't see the I literally just see, oh hey, he's doing his thing. Oh hey, he's doing this thing. Maybe they could come together, like, and actually, come together and maybe have a little something going on, but they don't really need it, it doesn't need to be a war. I mean,
right.
like, I feel like in this day and age, like, number one, and I'll just say this because I've been saying this ever since I've been um, a wrestler. Always support the indies. Always support the indie wrestling because we're out here trying to do our thing, and on top of that, we're out here trying to entertain you guys. Like, it's not for the money. It's not for you know for the fame and fortune. It's for enjoying what we do and making sure that you guys enjoy it as well.
That's awesome, man. Okay, I got a couple more questions for you, and
Mm-hmm.
then I got the couple of good ones to leave the show with.
Okay.
First is we'll go ahead and we'll get to Vince because if Vince is still watching, he just wants to know who's on your Mount Rushmore of wrestling.
Ooh, man, I love the fact that he asked this question. That's kind of hard because, but I love the fact that he asked the question because it could change. Because I could tell you
No on the fence, Jay. No on the
no
fence.
on the
Here,
fence.
February 23rd, 2020. Your Mount Rushmore as of today. We can always chisel it away and create a new one tomorrow. But we want to know
All right,
February 20th,
all right,
23rd.
all right. So you want to know my Mount Rushmore? All right, here it is. So Cena's on there. Number one, he'll be on there. Cena will be on there. Austin will be on there. Um, I'm gonna go with uh Taker because he's gonna be on there, and Triple H. Like
Nice.
but I had to. But here's the thing, though. I had to swap those out for either Triple H or The Rock.
Okay.
Like,
But here
those
you
have
heard it
been
here
like
first.
most of, yeah.
Triple H hit that pedigree on The Rock. He got the pin. The Rock is off of the Mount Rushmore.
Oh my
I
god.
would have always put it between Stone Cold and The Rock for that spot. But it's interesting to hear you
Well,
say it's between Triple H and The Rock.
well. Here's my thing. Like, we all know that Austin is 3-1. He's like 2-1. He's two
WrestleMania
and one
against the two,
at
yeah,
WrestleMania against The Rock.
yeah.
So he's 2-1. So I mean, Austin has a, like, a permanent spot because of that. So, um, no, don't get me wrong. I love The Rock. The Rock is awesome. Um, but I have a hard time picking between because the Attitude Era had so much freedom,
Mm-hmm.
which is why my most of the people on Mount Rushmore is from the Attitude Era,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why I picked Cena is because of the fact that he held down a whole comp for over a decade, for well over a decade.
About 15
So
years, yeah. And I think he went
yeah,
17 years in a row where he at least was on at a minimum of one pay-per-view a year.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
for
And
almost
he
two
did
decades, he was at least booked on one pay-per-view a year.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and people, and the thing about it is, people hated him, but it was just the fact that he stepped up
Mm-hmm.
and he took reins when everybody was leaving, when Austin retired, when The Rock was going to um, there was Batista, there was Randy Orton, there was him, there was I mean there was still a good looking Kurt Angle, but he was on his way out himself.
Right.
So so
Little known fact is Kurt Angle actually spent more time in TNA Impact Wrestling than he did with
yes,
WWE.
he did. That is correct. I knew
Um,
that.
it's one of the lesser known ones, but I'll get to the let me. I'm gonna ask you a question, then I'm gonna field Twitter again to see if we've gotten any more. I think we've already
Mm-hmm.
answered this one, but maybe we can reiterate it a little bit directly.
Mm-hmm.
The slop drop asked, uh, do you watch anything current? So obviously we know you watch NXT because you're
Mm-hmm.
on the crew. Um, but he wants to know if you do, what are some of your likes or dislikes about what's popular today? So I guess when you'd say popular, I would assume you'd mean WWE, NXT, AEW, New
AEW.
Japan. Yeah.
So I'll put this out here right now.
Yep.
I've only seen a couple of things from New Japan, so I have not like fully, you know, New Japan is like the one that I kind of like dabble in. Like okay, cool. Oh, that looks pretty cool. All right, oh, cool. That's me with New Japan. Like I would like to get into New Japan more, but I haven't like fully got over to that side yet. Now, when it comes down to WWE, um, I like the fact that they're doing something totally different with Seth Rollins. I love the Monday Night Messiah. I love it. I enjoy how stupid he is. I really enjoy how stupid he is because it just makes I don't know where Buddy Murphy fits into this this picture, but I'm glad they're doing something because to be quite honest with you, he really does not fit in
Yeah.
that picture. He really doesn't. Um, I like the fact that Otis is getting more time. I love that. With I love the fact that there was like that thing going on with him and Mandy because I mean it was entertaining. So
The very least. Yeah, I'm a fan of pretty much everything you just said there. I like Buddy
I
where
love the
he's at.
fact I love the fact that you know what I haven't seen Brock Lesnar since.
We were happy that he was on here fairly frequently too. Um,
However,
yes.
however, I'm not okay with the fact that they didn't um, make the Royal Rumble for the WWE champion for the universe WWE champion. I
Yeah,
did not like that because that didn't make any sense whatsoever.
yeah. It was.
So
I think it was more for the spectacle.
I
Um,
like the fact that Goldberg is back just for a little bit because it's nice to see him. Um, I also will say I love the fact of what they're doing with Dakota Kai. I love the fact that Keith Lee is the North American champion because he is someone that I like follow a lot, and I love the fact that he's got his comeuppance because that man has been working his ass off.
yeah, I'm a huge fan of
Um,
Keith Lee with you there.
yeah, and I love the fact that Velveteen Dream is back. I love it. Everyone thinks that like everyone seems to be, going with the fact of like him being the heel, but everyone loves it.
Yeah,
Everyone just loves the fact that he's like trying to be this home wrecker, and everyone's still booing the Undisputed Era. I mean, granted, they still love Undisputed Era, and they love everything about them, but they just love Velveteen Dream so much more. It's just it's just crazy. Like,
uh,
yeah.
that's good to hear,
So
man.
that's where I'm at.
Well, it sounds like you're pretty satisfied with the product.
Yeah,
That's good. That's good, man. I like to err on the side of positivity too, man. I think it takes way too much energy to be upset with a lot of the stuff. I think it's okay to be critical, but I think if you allow yourself to like a lot of things, you'll get through the product easier.
yeah.
Now, I know earlier you said it's not about going to the E or AEW, but say you could pick a larger, one of the major companies to work for. Where would your free ticket take? Well, not free ticket, but if you had your pick of the litter, Wednesday Night Wallop wants to know, where would you go?
If I had to choose, I'm always gonna choose WWE because that's where I wanted to. That's what brought me to wrestling in the first place. That's where it brought me like to think about um one day coming to Chicago and performing at the Allstate Arena like would be a dream come true to me because you know I would just be blown away by just the atmosphere and knowing that hey, you made it here. You
So
made it here. You made it to the big leagues. Like this is what you've been working for the past 20 years and here you are.
nice.
Like take and like it's like take advantage. Take advantage of every moment that you got here. Like make sure that you pick everyone's brains, meet everybody. To be quite honest with you, if I happen to get into the WWE, I really hope, I believe that I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping number one, I'm hoping that Triple H is still there. Number one, because I would just want to shake his hand because he himself is a student of the game, and if I could pick from his brain, I'd be set for life. Um,
He really does feel like he has like his finger on the pulse
exactly,
of professional modern professional wrestling.
exactly. And I'm hoping that like if I could meet anybody, I would want to meet Cena at least. Like I have to like that man. I've watched that man from bottom to top, from him being ruthless aggression to him being, yeah,
Breaking the
it's literally
trumpets
just
out.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I've watched every. Funny thing about it is that everyone started to hate Cena in '06 when he went against Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stop like having this thing. Like I didn't start getting tired of Cena until I'd say maybe about um maybe what is that WrestleMania 26 when he went against Batista, and
Yeah.
then I started to see all the wonderful colorful shirts. Like that was the moment where I kind of was like, okay, see now I'm kind of like tired of seeing you for a little bit. Let's kind of like slow down. But when he and this is one of the reasons why I have this shirt because this is the shirt that literally was like, okay, I like this style. I like this Cena because number one, I like this shirt. Number one, I love this shirt. As you can see, it's worn out.
For those of
Because,
you who are catching the audio version of this and not the live stream video, Jay Thunder is rocking the very popular Rise Against Hate. What is it? Rise Against Hate?
rise above hate.
Rise Above Hate shirt. I can only see the rise on the top text. But
Yeah.
yeah.
If you, I'm like my camera's. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
stay.
we'll leave it. We'll
So
leave it as
yeah,
is. We all know the
but
shirt.
but obviously like this is a shirt that like means a lot to me because number one, it is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first wrestling shirt that I've ever owned. And another thing is I also have a hoodie that matches it. So, and I was in love. I was in love with this. This is what made me want to watch Cena again. Now, I didn't like the green one after that when he went against The Rock, but there's a lot of shit. Like I've always been a fan of his shirts. They've always been fun.
So if you
And
want to support Jay Thunder, go ahead and send him plenty of Cena shirts and throw some armbands in there too and some
as
wristbands.
a matter of fact, I'll give it to you guys. Like, do not send me any of the colorful. Send me like maybe send me the hustle, loyalty, and respect one. Maybe the throwback one. I'll do that one. That'll be dope. Um,
You could
like
always take the colorful ones if they send them to you and maybe hang them on the wall as like a
yeah,
backdrop
I'll
for the
probably like
camera.
hang. I'll hang. I'd never like I'd never.
Well,
But yeah, like he's the guy that made me continue to want to do this.
got you.
Like he's the one that like it's this shirt. This shirt means a lot. Rise above hate. That's what I'm saying. So if that's how I feel about that.
That's awesome, man. We'll rattle off the last two questions, and then we're gonna get to the closing segment, which is designed solely to drum up controversy with you. So I can't wait for
Oh
that.
boy. Oh
So
boy.
we'll rattle off the last two questions. The Get Show Wrestling Podcast, good friends of the show, obviously Chicago native themselves, ask if you have a favorite neighborhood in Chicago, and have you? And then also second part, completely unrelated to the first part. Have you ever tried to convince a guy to do the rest of the strength during a match?
Have I ever convinced a guy?
Or tried to convince a guy to I'm assuming this is some wrestling talk lingo, but ever tried to convince a fellow wrestler in a match for them to do the rest of the strength moves, as I assume that's what he means by that.
Rest of the strength moves?
So if I was
Um
yeah, yeah,
no, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I'll say
Go
if
ahead.
I was to read it word for word, it says favorite neighborhood in Chicago. And have you ever tried to convince a guy to do the rest of strength during a fight? So I'm not sure if there's a typo, if that's just worded funny.
So if I were to choose we'll start off with we'll start off with the second question
Okay.
because I'll try to like get a feel for what that question is. Um, no, I have not.
Okay.
Like I am the big guy.
Yeah.
I am the one that does all the strength moves. Um, that's just how that goes. I'm the one that unless it's a special match where like someone's like about to give me the about to pick me up, like the whole Andre the Giant Hulk Hogan. It's like that. That's the only situation that I've ever had.
And also, do you have a favorite neighborhood in Chicago?
If I had to choose my favorite neighborhood in Chicago, it damn sure wouldn't be Inglewood. Um, if I had to choose my favorite area in the Chicago area, it probably would be, and this is only because of the fact that like I've been around that whole city, and I've also like lived in that city as well. Like I've lived in a couple spots in the city, so I probably have to go with the Logan Square area. That area is it, even though like it can be annoying and it's full of yuppies. Um, I enjoy just because of the fact that it's still kind of nice. It's pretty built up, and that's also where I think one of the one of the other locations for one of the promotions, freelance. It's also over there as well. So I wouldn't mind being over there to be more. And not only that, like Emporium's over there. It's a wonderful, crazy arcade over there, and then Logan Arcade is over there too. It's more stuff over there to do. So
Nice.
and it's not that far away from headquarters. So I love going there too.
All right. So, final question before I put you in the hot seat. This one comes to a veteran of the show, former AEW host, Mr. Rob Root himself. He says, if you could step into the ring with any wrestler in history and lose, how 10 for 10 would it be to do it against Baron Corbin because he's king?
Hold up, rewind. What?
I feel like this was more of a chance so we could get Rob on air to plug Corbin than for him to actually ask you a question of substance.
Oh God. Okay. Can you like can you can you say the question one more time? I'm sorry.
He's got a funny way of wording it, but I think I know what he's going for here. He says, if you could step into the ring against any wrestler in history and lose, so who you would like to lose to, which is an odd question in itself. He's like, how 10 for 10, or how baller, I'm assuming is what he mean, would it be to lose to Baron Corbin because he's king?
Am I losing to King Baron Corbin?
He starts off the first part of the question like you could pick a wrestler to lose to, and then he just ends it with how boss would it be to lose to Corbin. I think that's really all it is.
So, like I said, do I need end of days Baron Corbin, or do I need King Baron Corbin? That's a serious.
It's always difficult with Rob.
Okay. So if I could be,
let's focus just on the first half of the question, and let's just say if you had to do the job for any current wrestler or wrestler in history, who would it be cool to do the job to?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't mind having a match with Baron Corbin. Number one, because I feel like he's still a good wrestler in general. Do I like his character? No, I don't. But but that's what he's supposed to do. He's a heel. Like he's supposed to get people to hate him. But I wouldn't mind taking I wouldn't mind. Like I feel like me and him would have good matches. Would I lose to him? Eh. The match has to be good. Like the match has to be really good.
All right.
Like and that's just me as a wrestler, as a established wrestler, I'd be like, eh. As a rookie, I wouldn't mind losing to him.
You wouldn't mind showing up as enhancement talent on SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know, fresh after Corbin's, run against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't mind if I'm like the rookie. Oh, hey, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll lose to you, buddy. Yeah, no problem. But if I'm like established, I'm literally gonna be looking at you like you gonna earn this. You gonna earn this loss.
That's wonderful.
I want you to earn this loss, or I want you to earn this win.
Nice. Well, that brings me to the part that I've looked forward to the most. The section where it is essentially going to be this or that, no sitting on the fence. I'll lay out two options. You tell me which you prefer off the top of your head. I've designed this solely for controversy's sake. So with further ado, let's go ahead and get to the questions. The first one is you agree or disagree. Right now there's too much pro wrestling.
Ooh, right now there's too much pro wrestling.
No waiting, just agree or disagree.
Disagree.
Attitude Era or Ruthless Aggression? You have to go with
I knew this was going to happen. I knew. Who came up with this question?
I did.
Damn it. Attitude Era. I grew up on it, so.
Comedy wrestling or spot fests?
Comedy.
All right.
Chicago. Because you can't. And I'll say this. The reason why I say comedy is there's at least some story to it. The like a spot fest is literally, I if you've seen a whole bunch of if you've seen luchadors, they're spot fests.
It's funny too because I think Ashley Lopez told you that she wants a luchador outfit. So nice little segue back there.
Yeah, she did.
Chicago deep dish or New York style pizza?
Ooh, stop it. Chicago?
Chicago. Who is the better talker, Rock or Austin?
Rock.
Pile driver or Tombstone?
Tombstone.
CM Punk or Colt Cabana?
Damn. Phil Brooks.
All right. Hogan or Flair?
Ooh. Flair. Flair. What?
The Sandlot or Mighty Ducks?
Kyle, come on, man. Come on, man.
I bring the hard questions, man.
Come on, man. Like, oh.
I'm particularly proud of this one, actually.
No, you know what? That was a good one. Damn. If I had to pick, I'll probably pick
You
the
have
Sandlot.
to. Sandlot, okay.
I have to pick the Sandlot.
And finally, who was the better manager? Bobby the Brain Heenan or Paul Heyman?
I'm only gonna pick Paul Heyman because I didn't seeing Bobby Heenan, so I grew up seeing Paul Heyman. So
There we go.
Paul Heyman was literally the one that I grew up like watching all the time.
I feel
Whether
like
it was
anybody
ECW
over the age of 35 is going to be strongly disagreeing with you.
Well, I mean that's cool. I mean that's wrestling is all about disagreeing.
Yeah.
So
All right, so thank you for taking part in that section solely to drum up controversy. I hope you receive a lot of hateful stuff on Twitter due to your picks.
oh yeah, absolutely. I would love all, like, definitely.
So, Jay, you've been an awesome sport on the show today. Thank you so long for sitting down with me for over an hour. I'd like to end the show with just two more questions. You've given me a lot, and I really appreciate that. But now I want to give the fans something. To anybody interested in trying to get involved with the business one way or another, what advice would you offer for anyone wanting to pursue becoming a pro wrestler or involved with the pro wrestling scene?
I would literally tell them that you need to stay humble. You need to stay humble in this business, because you can't get too riled up in the fact of whether or not you're better than anybody else or none of that nonsense. You need to stay humble, do what you can, just do you. Get as much knowledge as you can while you still are in the business, and just have fun. That's the main thing that you have to do, is have fun in this business. Because I see a lot of people nowadays, they're just going through the motions and not having fun. Wrestling, for people that do it, it's supposed to be fun. Like, you're supposed to have fun doing this. I have fun every time that I step in that ring, every time that I go, every time that I give a spear, every time that I do anything. I'm having fun doing it. And you should too.
That is a wonderful, wonderful answer. I greatly appreciate that, man. That is all the time we have for today. I can't thank you enough for being on the show, Jay. You guys make sure to tune in Wednesday nights to catch Jay, of course, hosting the NXT recap shows with Vince and RN. Jay, when's your next wrestling event so we can go watch you live in Chicago?
So the next event will be in Woodstock. It'll be March 6th. It's for CSW Northland. You guys can come. If you guys, all you Chicago people, you guys know where Woodstock is. I mean, like, take the toll road. It'll be an hour to get there, but come help support your boy. Have fun while doing it.
Bring
Enjoy
plenty
the
of
after
Cena
party.
t-shirts.
Bring plenty of Cena t-shirts if you got them. But definitely more so support indie wrestling. And just come and enjoy being around wrestling and having fun.
Well said, my friend. Until next time, guys. You guys all have a good one.
And guys, just for everything, I appreciate everyone that was on here. Thank you for the questions. Kyle, thank you. I appreciate you having me on here. If anything, I hope that I'll give Kyle links because I'll have my matches at the bottom for anybody that's on YouTube. You guys can watch them.
Awesome. All right, you guys, have a great night.
Deuces.